This is a story of a jaw tooth. You said the story of a jaw tooth. I'd say about 40 years ago, maybe 35 or 40. We have a domino game, playing dominoes, 10, 15 dominoes. I was raised as a kid, that's the only game we played, dominoes. The older people played them. They handed it down to us. I handed it down to my children. It was a great way to teach young people how to add. So we're having a domino game. My partner is one of my sons, I think it was Al. So my oldest son and myself, we were at a table. We're going up against my dad and my mom. My dad's sitting there at the table, and he says, "We're playing dominoes. It's a domino game." In the middle of the domino game, he looks up and he says, "Ma, you got any pliers?" So my dad asked my mom, did she know where a pair of pliers? Where's that pair of pliers? She tells him in there in the drawer in the kitchen. He gets up from the domino table, pushed his dominoes down where we couldn't see him, you know. He walks in the kitchen and walks by with a pair of pliers in his hand. He walks in the bathroom, and we're sitting there waiting on him to come back to finish the domino game. So I'd say he walked in there maybe a minute or two. Ma says to my dad, she said, "James, come on, let's finish this domino game. What are you doing?" He said, "Wait just a minute." So he walks out with the pair of pliers in one hand and one of his jaw teeth in the other hand. He said, "That thing been bothering me for the last 3 months, but I finally got it." And he held out his hand like that. There's a big old jaw tooth in the middle of his palm there. He walks to the door, throws it out in the yard. You know, the dogs run over there, you know, smelling around. He comes back in there and sits down at the domino table. You know, 10, you know. We went right on with the domino game. He had him a little spit cup. He'd spit every once in a while. A little blood came from the extraction. Fast forward 40 years, he was around my age then, 40 years ago, my dad was, in his 70s. Well, now Paul's moved across on the other side, Ma too. I'll see them later. But I said, one of my jaw teeth, I said, it's like that time I remember when we were playing them dominoes. I said, now Paul took a pair of pliers and just reached in there and got it. I said, manhood is beginning to slip. I thought about it a few days. I said, all right. I said, this thing beginning to ache. I said, I think I'll go the dental route instead of the old Jase Robertson, get a pair of pliers and snatch it out. I go up there and the guy looks at it, he said, He said, yeah, you should have come sooner there, Rob. I said, yeah. I said, hey, if it needs pulling, get it out of there. He says, the dentist, you take a regimen of antibiotics. I said, easy now, easy. I said, Doc, I don't know about them antibiotics. I said, I'm a little bit dubious about those things. I said, I'd rather you just pull the tooth out of my head, throw it away, and we'll go from there on what move we'll pull next. Implants, whatever we want to do here. He said, well, you have to take these antibiotics or I can't do that because there's an infection there and I don't want to pull that tooth. And I told him the story of my dad. He was like, whoa. He said, well, that was back then. Now, this could be pretty dangerous unless you get some antibiotics in you to knock out this infection before I pull the thing out of your head. So I begrudgingly said, okay. First I didn't take them for about a week. Then I thought, well, then they call, is he taking them? No, he's not taking them. So Miss Kay says, I will talk him into taking the things. So she comes in and gives me a little short sermonette on infections, go to your brain. I mean, she come on out with it, you know. So I started taking the blooming things, just in case. But anyway, they talked me into it in this particular case. So I took them for a week. Then I go up there, went on a book tour, New York, Pennsylvania, Virginia. So by the time I get down in here, I'm about a week into the antibiotics. Time for the tooth to go. And unlike my dad 40 years ago, pair of pliers in the bathroom, got it. I lie back in the chair. He said, I said, well, I don't, if I have a tooth filled or something ever once in a blue moon, I don't have them deaden it. I just sell them, drill it and fill it. I'd take anything for a few minutes. So that's the way I've been rolling, but he said, I think it's best if we deaden that. The way this thing is, he said, it's a crooked like it is, we might ought to deaden that. I said, go for it. So he deadens the thing, and actually I didn't even, I was aware that it left there. I just saw it go by with his tube. I thought, well, whew, how to wind that up. He said, you're probably going to need a few pain pills when that deadening wears off there, Phil. I said, you reckon? How bad could it be? He said, I'll get you some, and if it gets too bad, you can take one. So when the deadening wore off, I said, I believe the old doc was right. I said, this thing hurts. I took one of the pain pills. I will have to admit, it helped. Now that's the only one I took, just that one. So that's where I am on the health front, which tells you there is a place for dentists, doctors. He can't help me as far as the grave coming up, my destiny, physical death. The dentist, he can keep me here on the earth with less pain than I would have had without him. So they are a good thing, but they can't help you with physical death. Just temporary relief, temporary. Keyword, temporary. But they're pretty good at what they do. Trust in doctors to a certain extent. They'll give you a temporary reprieve, hopefully, give you more years on the earth. Is there any way that I can be delivered from the grave itself? Here comes Jesus. I'm just saying, if you're of the persuasion that you'll take your chances without Jesus, my reply to that is, you don't have a chance without him. The least of my worries at this present point, unlike a week ago, my jaw was hurting. My tooth was hurting. Whew. 1 week later, all gone.